Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Did you think that the fearless Chechen warriors are home, ready for, I don't know, they don't have Christmas, but anyway, nah, they're still fighting over there. And they're fighting with members of the Wagner group. And they are redeployed to make sure that they strengthen the position of the Russian forces. So, let's see what these guys are doing. This article comes from Ukrainska Pravda from today, November 22nd, 2022. Wagner Group militants and Chechen soldiers arrive in occupied Donetsk Oblast city. Units of the Wagner Group and the Kadyrovites, soldiers from the Chechen Republic fighting as part of the Russian armed forces, have arrived in the occupied city of Debaltseve, Donetsk Oblast. Additionally, the occupiers have left some positions near the city of Molokhansk, Zaporozhye Oblast. Source: Evening Report of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Quote, training of men from a temporary occupied Donetsk Oblast that were forcibly conscripted to the Russian occupation troops is taking place in the city of Yenakieve, Donetsk Oblast. It is specifically noted that the so-called instructors are accommodated in a building of a local polytechnic college where students are simultaneously studying. Great, they don't disturb them. Great. Isn't that an achievement? Two things in the same time. In order to reinforce the grouping of troops, separate units from Chechen Republic as well as units of the Wagner private military company were transferred to the temporarily occupied city of Debaltseve in Donetsk Oblast. Additionally, the regrouping of separate units of the occupiers near the settlements of Molochansk in Zaporozhye Oblast have been detected. As per available information, separate positions have been released and separate checkpoints have been removed there. End quote. Details. Over the day, the Russians carried out approximately 15 attacks from multiple launch rocket systems, MLRS, hitting positions of the Ukrainian troops and settlements. Ukrainian troops, oh, did you hear that? Oh, you rarely hear something like this coming from the Ukrainians saying that the Russians are hitting Ukrainian troops. Usually they kill only civilians and civilian infrastructure. The situation on the Volyn and Polisia fronts remains without significant changes. No signs of offensive groups forming have been noticed. On Siverchania front, the Russians used MLRS to fire on the settlement of Kustye in Sumy Oblast. On the Slobozhanshchnya front, the occupiers continue to hold their forces in the border areas of Belgorod Oblast in order to conduct demonstrative actions. The invaders periodically strike on the positions of the Ukrainian defenders and those settlements of Kharkiv Oblast that are neighboring the state border. The Russians are defending on the Kupiansk and Liman fronts. They also use mortars, tanks. When I hear tanks, that means it's an offensive, so I don't know about these guys. Tube artillery to attack the area in and around the settlements of Kislivka, Krokhmalne, Berestove, Kharkiv Oblast, Makivka and Bilohorivka in Luhansk Oblast. The occupiers are focusing their efforts on conducting offensive operations on the Bakhmut and Avdiivka fronts. They keep pushing in Bakhmut and Avdiivka. They've been doing this for about a month already, if no more than that. They fired at the settlements of Bakhmut, Klishchivka, Zelenopilia, Avdiivka, Vodiane, Pervomiske, and Nevelske from tanks and artillery of various types. The invaders struck the positions of the Ukrainian defense forces with tanks and all types of artillery on the Novopavlivka and Zaporozhye fronts. Wherever you hear tanks, as I said before, that's an offensive, but that's the key word. area of approximately 10 settlements came under fire as well, among them the settlements of Orikhiv, Zaporozhye Oblast. On the Kryvyi Rih and Kherson fronts, the Russians are conducting positional defense, improving their fortifications and logistic provisions. I saw them digging trenches and other things. And that was on the other side of the Donetsk, Dnieper River. So defense, improving their fortifications and logistic provisions of the units on the front line, and keep on shelling positions of the Ukrainian troops and settlements on the right bank of the Dnieper River. They used tubed and rocket artillery to shell the settlements of Marivka in the Dnipropetrovsk Oblast and Tokarivka, Antonivka, Dniprovsk in Kherson Oblast, as well as the city of Kherson. Ukrainian air forces carried out 2 strikes on the area of concentration of manpower, weaponry, and military equipment of the Russian over the current day. Well, this is like a general overview of what's going over there. The Kadyrovites, they've been out of the news for a while, and the Wagner group as well. They're still there, and as I said, whenever you hear that's 86,000 Russians who died and all that, you should always divide that, but they don't divide it, by Russian military and then auxiliary forces like Kadyrovites, Wagner group, other mercenaries that might be over there, or volunteers, or simply militias formed in the liberated or occupied, however you want to look at it, territories. So when the Russians say, well, maybe we lost 7,000 troops, they probably think about, and I think it's too low anyway, they talk about their military, their Russian military conscripts, not Kadyrovites, or which they are part of the Russian military, but they are from those provinces, or however they're called in Russia. I can't remember right now the regions. That's with that. Regarding the Wagner group, the Wagner group is the most dispendable group, because when you have a military, private military contractor company, I pay you, you come here, you die, hire another one, you die, hire another one, you die. So then you shouldn't have too much social unrest inside your country when Wagner Group employees perish at the job, where this is the, part of the job assignment. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, but nobody forced you to go in there. You agreed. It was a free choice. Well, if you were in prison and you still agreed with that, they didn't grab you and gave you a Kalashnikov and sent you over the front. You had to say yes, because if I go, they're gonna give me this. If I don't, I'm gonna be here in the little community. Well, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.